Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to cascading style sheets, or CSS, which is how you actually change the look of websites. So we're going to go over what CSS is, what it can do, and we're going to go over the general rule of cascading style sheets. So first of all, the cascading we'll talk about later, but style is the adjectives of a page. So color, size, borders, spacing, that sort of thing. That's all the styling of a web page. And it's sheets because you actually want to do your cascading style sheet, your CSS, in a separate file than your HTML. And the reason being, if you have one CSS file, then you can style all of your different HTML documents on a web page, all using the exact same style. So instead of needing to change your style over and over and over again, like if you decide, oh, I don't like the purple background color of this website, maybe I want it to be blue or something. The idea of having a different sheet with your styling on it means you just need to change the purple to a blue in one place, and then boom, all of your web pages will change. Okay, so in general, CSS, actually before we even get into the general rule, let's look at what CSS can do for you. So this site is a great site. It's called CSS Zen Garden. It's been around for, well, basically since CSS. It was invented like a decade or two ago. And this is the HTML file that actually drives this whole page. And so if we open up that HTML file, here we go. All that it is it's just, some H1s, some H2s, some H3s, I think, some paragraphs, some links, right? All this sort of basic plain HTML stuff. This is like what the websites looked like in the early 90s before we had any sort of styling, okay? And this HTML then gets turned into this beautiful website just with cascading style sheets. And if we look at down this right-hand side, here's some other examples. Let's just open a few up. And all of these different sites all are based on this exact same HTML file. So this here, where you've got these cool pop-outs and these boxes and these beautiful background designs. This one here, if you refresh it, it's got like a loading animation. You see sort of things sort of faded in as you refresh the page. That's all done with CSS. Or this one over here, right? It's got these moving frames. It's like scrolling text across and it moves as I mouse over things. Like this is all done just with cascading style sheets. And so hopefully this is excited you, whetted your appetite, as they say, for what you can do with CSS to style your HTML. Okay. And this all starts with the basic rule of CSS. So CSS selects different parts of your website with a selector, and then inside brace brackets, it will change the properties of whatever it is you've selected. So first thing we're going to look at for selectors are going to be different elements in HTML, like an H1 tag or something, and then you can change different properties like color or size or whatever, and give those properties different values. So let's go through a couple examples. So this first example here selects H1s, so it's going to make all H1s color red and font size 50 pixels. And this open brace, close brace identifies where we start changing H1s, where we end changing H1s. You'll notice it's property, value, semicolon. Property, value, semicolon. And theoretically, you could dump all of this onto one line, one after the other, but that's really hard to read. So usually you want one per line like this. Or here's another example. This one selects all IMG tags, which is all images, and makes it so that they have a border. And borders in CSS actually have 3 different properties you need to set, which we'll play with in a later video. But it sets the border width to 2 pixels wide. It sets the border style to solid, and there's different options here like dashed and so on. Usually you almost always want solid, unless you're making a really ugly web page from the 90s, which you guys have probably never experienced because you guys are too young to remember the old internet. But anyway, usually you want nice solid borders, and then you can also change the color of borders. Okay, and so this is what CSS looks like. And in fact, if you look at this sample CSS file, file was not found. Why was that file not found? There we go. Okay, I don't know why that link wasn't working, but there you go. Here's the style.css. And as you can see, it's got HTML, body, P, and so on. And all of these properties that they've changed with various links to images and so on for backgrounds, this small style sheet is all that it takes to take this ugly, where are we? Okay, I've lost the HTML. But anyway, you saw the HTML. Took that ugly HTML and made it into this beautiful page with just that one style sheet. Cool, so that's CSS, and in the next video we will start coding our own CSS.